It pulls you in and doesn't let go.
Okay, hello, welcome back to the carousel. It's been a week because we did 3 episodes in a row, and I was so busy. And when I am podcasting and working at the same time, I go insane. I'm also not drinking for Q4, which is total abject misery. And all I do is just work all the time and like organize things. What's up, Dudley?
Hey. Thanks for having me again. It's been a while.
Of course, it's good to not see you. Um, so we are here to. I hope things have been well with you. You've been trucking along with the Newright Post. Let's
Yeah.
check in. How's things going on there?
Things are good. This year's actually been not a great growth year on Substack. I don't know what the deal is there. A lot of people are complaining about it, though. It's not just me. But when I look at my analytics, it's probably half of the growth rate of last year. And part of me wonders if some of that's like a plateau effect. Like the thing that I do is not mass appeal. And I've made my peace with that. But I do wonder if that has something to do with it. If it's just like there's only so many like meme addicted freaks out there who can appreciate what the Newright Post is. But for anyone listening who doesn't know, the Newright Post is a weekly newsletter that gathers the best threads, the best podcasts, long read essays in one digestible newsletter. And sometimes it's a little self-referential and a lot of jokes go over people's heads, but that's kind of part of the appeal. So if you're in the scene, you'll appreciate that.
Yeah, always doing great work. The whole thing has seemed very, very slowing to a complete halt to me. The whole dissident right seems to really be phasing out, but that doesn't mean that the new Right Post has to phase out. I mean, I think actually your job as a cultural curator is to understand what's next, right? To understand where things are going, and I think this is an opportunity for you. This is an opportunity for Dudley to kind of lead the charge or just understand where things are headed, right? Like, where are things going to go?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's as energetic as ever. If you look at the actual output, the memes are there, the interesting essays are there. Right now, I think the conversation around the last 2 weeks has been kind of which way is the dissident right, or I mean, I guess which way is the right going to go? Is it going to be? Is it going to follow the vision of the base boys, or are the normies going to take the reins? And I think you appreciate this, Isaac. I've noticed just over the last week that there's a preponderance of, I don't know if there was an algo change or what, but my timeline is full of these ex-lib women who are now trying to define what the right ought to be. And it's, the kind of like hashtag politically homeless archetype.
Bridget Fetisi.
Yeah, not her specifically, but like.
So you hate Bridget Fetisi. You're on record saying you hate Bridget Fetisi and she's a whole.
No, Bridget's great.
Okay.
But there's a ex-lib type that felt that woke culture went too far, and they do not have the stomach for some of the edgier fringe of dissident right, and they are trying to clamp down hard on it, and I guess it remains to be seen whether that effort's going to be successful.
Well, you're talking about the recent leak, right?
That
You're
was
talking about the recent
one of
leak.
the major flashpoints for sure.
Yeah. So
The
tell
chat
people
leak.
what you mean here. What just explain the scenario and explain the sides, because I know what you're talking about, but you might as well
Yeah.
tell
Well, there
the
was
audience.
a group chat among several young Republicans, with capital YR, meaning the organization, the Young Republicans,
Yes, meaning homosexuals, meaning homosexual discourse.
who were texting each other the N word,
Literally.
and they were. Someone said, "I love Hitler," kind of jokey way. Um, but basically, just
Dude, you're breaking up a little bit, man.
am I not doing a connection? I don't know. Anyway, I'll try to speak as clearly as I can.
Ah, you're breaking up. You're breaking up.
Oh no.
Okay, you actually don't sound like you're breaking up. You sound like you're just getting like quiet. So just try staying close to the mic.
Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so these
That's
guys
better.
were speaking in a spicy way in a private group chat, which was leaked to Politico, and Politico wrote up a big article about it, and they were basically, all these normie cons were saying this is bad. We need to denounce this. We need to draw a line in the sand. This is not tolerable. And a lot of the folks on the dissident right were saying, maybe something should happen to these guys, but let's not prostrate ourselves before liberal world and say we're so sorry. We promise we'll never do it again. Let's ignore it. Let's we're not morally obligated to denounce and disavow. That was at least my perspective on the subject.
Yes. So I'll tell you exactly what's happening here. What is happening here is no one actually cares or is actually offended by people saying Hitler or the N word in their group chat. No one
Yep.
fucking cares about that.
Yep.
In actual reality, there is no person on the right who's like, like, this is something I myself doesn't do, right? It's like every single fucking person on the entire right has these fucking text messages where they say inappropriate shit. I mean, maybe unless you're fucking JD Vance, right?
Yeah.
We all fucking do it. What this is, it's like a Gen Z person who doesn't have sexting. I mean, I never did sexting, but Gen Z people, they all fucking have it. They all fucking have it. Like there's none of them that don't fucking have it. It's all there. So this is like one Gen Z person condemning another Gen Z person for fucking sexting, because they all fucking do it, right? So there's no actual moral groundwork here at all. There's no actual moral outrage whatsoever.
And I'd even take it a step further that on the left, there's no genuine moral outrage. It is simply a tactical way to punish
It's tactical
someone.
everywhere. It's tactical on all parts. The parts of the right that are condemning it are the woke right crowd, which are, people who are, look, I don't think all of them are necessarily bad, but I don't like woke right because it's funny, because woke right here it's actually the total reverse, right? The people who are being woke here are the ones leaking a group chat and trying to cancel people because of it. That's the woke side. The woke right isn't the one saying the N-word jokingly. You know what I mean? But it's the problem is we have this disgusting cancer on the right where the tacticians are trying to confuse and disrupt what they regard to be a white supremacist thread on the right, which it's like, okay, how about you focus on the fucking left? Or if you want to focus on the right, do messaging that's going to attract people on the right, not try to divide on the basis of calling certain people woke and blah, blah, blah. It's just, I don't think there's any people actually on that side, right? Like I don't think there is any group of people on the right that actually think this is wrong. They think they're worried about Hitler, right? Which is fine. I get that. They're worried
Or they're
about,
worried about what
yeah.
their libtard friends would think if
No,
their boyfriend
that's not.
was.
I don't think any of the proponents of. I'm talking about only the people on the right, right? I don't
Yeah.
think any of the proponents of criticizing. Oh, we need to shut down those guys who are saying the mean words. We need to criticize them. And then there's this bullshit hot take that obviously was put together in a lab somewhere of the reason the left went out of control is because they couldn't get a hold of their extremists. Like it's basically trying to do something to the right that is so stupid and it's so misguided, which is basically like we're all cool and everything, except you can't say bad words and you can't say anything about Hitler and you can't say any of these, like you can't say gay and retarded. Like, dude, that's just not gonna fucking work. It's such a stupid
and they
tactic.
really give the game away when they post about somebody like Tucker, for example. It's like, oh,
It's
Tucker's an
ridiculous.
anti-Semite now.
Because he doesn't fall in line, because he doesn't
This is how
immediately fall in line with
It's
just
like,
saying the right thing every second, right?
you
It's
know
like, yeah.
that it never stops at I love Hitler. Like,
Right.
it's the same with the N-word. Like, you cannot please these people, and even among the, like, what you're calling the woke right, the people who use the term woke right.
Yeah.
Like this is a clout chasing mechanism.
It's not cloud chasing. It's not. It's really not cloud chasing. I know it is literally. It is a tactic. It is the point of this is to cause disruption on the parts of the right that people are worried are going to become Nazis. That's the whole fucking point of this. And it's just really fucking stupid because it's a wedge without two people on the side of it. All they're doing is harming the right. Or not even harming the right. They're not even doing anything. All they're doing is just distracting and making themselves look bad. That's it. All they're doing is making every influencer like Seth Dillon or whatever, every person that came around and tried to fucking pretend like saying bad words in a group chat is wrong. All they did is just lose credibility forever. That's all you did. All you did was make it so that no one will ever take you seriously ever again. I sure fucking won't. Like, oh, I'm supposed to believe that these motherfuckers don't say bad words in their own group chats. Seth Dillon, the fucking guy who runs the Babylon Bee, like, get the fuck out of here. What are you talking about? Like, you don't say bad words. You're just a squeaky clean guy. Like, fuck off.
I guess it's going to be interesting to just watch how this unfolds over the next year or two, the remainder of the Trump, because we have these moments, right, where it seems like all this infighting goes away for a while, like Trump getting shot or Charlie Kirk getting shot or the election, and then if after a few weeks or months of inactivity, everyone's gone for each other's throats.
I don't think any of this really matters. To be perfectly honest, I think this is more just like a total waste of time. Mm-hmm. I feel bad for the people who get thrown under the bus. Those are casualties, right? The guys who actually suffer, who went through this with their group chat. I mean, dude, these weren't even bad. You should see my fucking group chats. I mean, like, they're fucking horrible. Like, but that's the point. It's like nudes, dude. It's like it's the same thing as fucking sending nudes. There should be like a revenge porn statute about sharing group chats because that's the whole point. Human beings, the private sector, unfortunately, has moved to the digital sphere because we just spend all our time there. So just like you wouldn't want a recording of some break room with your boys at work recorded and put on fucking TV, that's not fair. That's fucking the private sector. You don't share somebody's group chats. You say whatever in group chats. That's the whole fucking point, right? I mean, it's like,
I don't know if there's if I could get gotten in that way. I don't think I have that, but I do believe that the only way to Yes, I'm a good boy.
You are.
But the only way to solve this is to make these violations banal and boring.
Right, and that's
You
the
know,
point. That right. They're trading on the future. The people who are using this as a tactic to try to control the right, I get why they're doing it. I understand their fear, but this is so the wrong approach. It's like the absolute opposite of the right approach. It's like the Jew belong posters. Like those Jew belong posters.
so you really don't think there's an element of like selfish like cloud chasing involved here? Because I think for
What do you
guys
mean? What do you
like for
mean
Seth
exactly?
Dillon, they are building a brand just like everybody else around being like the sophisticated, like polite at dinner parties that can hang
No,
with
no,
libs,
zero.
and I think that they get a ton of attention around this stuff and build their
Nope.
audience around it.
0%. They're being controlled, not controlled. Look, we're all controlled by our patrons. I don't want to say I don't criticize people for having patrons. They're just part of an initiative to control the right, to control the speech, not the speech, to basically make sure that the right doesn't become the Nazi party, right? I mean,
I think they
that's what
really
they're
are afraid of
that's
that.
what they're terrified of. Yes, that is 100% what they're terrified of. And hey, rightfully so. Like look, I hope the right doesn't become the Nazi party. I agree. I don't want that to happen either. But they're doing it. This type of shit is making the right the Nazi party.
Yeah.
That is what they're doing. So, the
I
reason why
made the
people
argument that alluding to what you said earlier about how the left they just that the accusation that they lost because they failed to police their fringe, like they also lost because they became a bunch of like horrible people to be around because of the constant cancellations and scolding. And Joe Barstool
it's just bullshit.
was basically like, I'm not going to deal with this anymore. I'm going to become a Joe Rogan guy.
And the right won because we embraced our fringe,
Yeah.
right? We got all the frat boys because we started saying gay and retard again, right? Like that's why
I actually
won.
do believe that's true.
Yeah.
It sounds
so
silly.
again, it's just bullshit. It's just political. Again, these people, they're not actually convincing anyone besides themselves. Like, if you actually looked at their tactics and how successful they were among the people that they want to reach, they're completely unsuccessful. Did Seth Dillon convince one single young right-wing person that it was like horrible to say the word Hitler on a group chat? Did he convince anyone of that? I would say he gave birth to 100 more of the thing that he was trying to prevent, right? So the problem is they just don't take seriously. They like violence, right? They like violence. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. I'm tapping the table. Sorry. Sorry, Dudley. They like violence. They like hurting people, unfortunately. And they think that, if we have the power to hurt people, that's going to make a difference. And the thing is, they're right. It does make a difference, but it makes a difference in the short run. It's very short-sighted. And the reason why we are where we are right now is because of that short-sightedness. Now, if all these people are so fucking worried, they should focus on the left. You have a woman, a Jewish woman, going up in front of the Emmys and saying, "Free Palestine," from the river to the sea. And you're spending your time like leaking group chats on the right. Like, dude, Mamdani, as somebody just said, Mamdani's going to be the worst thing that ever happened to, the West or
Yeah.
Jewish people in New York City, which is the same thing. No, just kidding. Ever. And that's true. It's like, dude, you have a Rubicon crossing communist who hates Jews for sure. And you're worried about some fucking guy on the internet. It's like, dude, what are you doing? And they're going to say, oh, well, can't we do both? Can't we do both? And it's like, no, you can't. You can't do both. Focus on fucking one thing at a time. Anyway, that's my
Yeah,
thoughts
I
on it.
mean, what I tell people is like, you don't have to comment on this. You don't have to draw attention to it. You can have your stance. Like you can indulge in your firm line in the sand. You can have your principles, but like you really do not have to hurt your cause in order
Right.
to also have those things.
Exactly. Okay. Anyway, all right. Let's talk about. So we do agree on basically everything. You and I, we're very aligned in our beliefs, except for, that Jesus is an idolatrous
Boiling and shit in
manifestation.
hell.
Yeah. No, I actually don't even. I'm not super anti-Jesus at all, to be honest. But I know that Jews are supposed to be, but I'm not. But we finally have found something we staunchly disagree upon, and that is these fucking Halloween costumes, the fucking Halloween decorations. Yeah. So I noticed this starting to come about last year, where we were working on actually a project, and one of our writers wrote this piece on how Halloween decorations are out of control. And when it was written, like 5 people messaged me immediately that day, and they were like, "This is so gay. This is so stupid. They're complaining about fucking Halloween decorations. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, shut up." And the thing is, in my heart of hearts, I actually agreed with the original critique that these costumes and etc. or not the costumes, sorry, it's like really hardcore decorations. I'm showing one on screen right now.
Are you able to play that with sound?
Yeah, I'll play it with sound. People aren't going to see it when they're listening later, but it's a guy who, it's like a really horrifying Halloween decoration where it's like a guy chopped in half and he's hanging by his arms and he's like twitching in a very realistic way.
And shrieking, and there's
and
like
shrieking. Yeah, he's shrieking. He's shrieking. His intestines are falling out. He's bloody and he's twitching around in like the most over the top possible way that you could possibly imagine. And so now suddenly this discourse is going mainstream where people are like, these fucking satanic Halloween decorations have gone out of control and it's traumatizing children. And it's not even, it's funny. You don't even hear the traumatizing children thing too much. What you actually hear is people say, this Tucker Carlson, this is demonic. There's demonic forces. These are demonic forces that are in people's yards. It's obviously demonic. And I've thought about this because I had this whole argument with everybody last year where I was kind of like, I could understand both sides. And I think my decision is this doesn't fucking matter. And it's like, I kind of agree. Like, I kind of think that people's initial reaction, which is to just groan and be like, oh, come on, is correct. So why don't you lay out your anti-Halloween decoration stance?
All right, so yeah, you're right. Like this is not the first year that we've had this discourse, but it seems to be really blowing up. I guess my argument rests on the idea that Halloween and holidays in general, but Halloween especially, is for kids.
Really scary one.
And kids should be the primary enjoyers of the holiday. And there is a kind of Reddit coded impulse to be as gruesome as possible so that your fellow adult but nerd friends can appreciate it, and you can post it on Reddit. And it's not for the kids. If anything, parents are going to want to cross to the other side of the street when they see something like that. And I think that, like in general, Halloween has just gotten out of control. I read something last year that it was almost on pace to surpass Christmas in terms of like money spent by the average person, which is insane to me because it's just what candy and decorations, and costumes. Um, and I think that it's this is just for adults in a way that's like ignoring the kid, and that's in general, like you see this in the adult Disney people, you see it all over our culture. Adults trying to like reterritorialize these holidays for themselves.
Well, I think that that's very true in the sense of the larger phenomenon. I remember last year I started saying this thing that I kept like going around and saying there's something weird going on with sports. And because it was clear to me, and this was particularly palpable in LA, which LA was never really a sports town. And now suddenly LA is a sports town. Like now suddenly in LA, everybody's like down and like they watch the Dodgers together and they watch the Rams together. That never used to happen. When I first moved here, there was like people didn't even know the games were on, you know? Whereas now you go to the Dodgers games, everyone's decked out. There's this LAFC stupid soccer thing. Everyone's decked out in LAFC. There is this weird Redditization of adulthood where like these like sporting interests, or Halloween's a perfect example. It's like these like shared little Disneyification is a great example. These like shared experiences. People are like really getting into them.
You've heard of Hanksgiving. Now get ready for Hanksoween. Even like even adult Halloween parties, like those were always a thing. But I feel like now, people are expected to go to these Halloween parties and get all dressed up and spend money on costumes and stuff, and that's kind of a new thing.
Well, and it's because the reasons are, like anything, there's multiple reasons, but it's because nobody has any kids, nobody has any religion, nobody has any purpose in life. So they're all, it's the same reason why people go to No Kings protests, right? They need something to do. It's like they need something to kind of like cling to. They need some tribe to cling to.
Yeah.
Now, one hopeful thing, though, and this is where I think the right is getting this slightly wrong. One hopeful interpretation of all of this is that the reason why people are getting involved in these sort of third-party activities, right? What's the name for this stuff? The third space? Yeah. These are kind of third space activities in the sense that they're not work or school. It's actually a good name for them. These, the Savannah Bananas have 80,000 people at their games. These like, they're like the whole Harlem Globetrotters of baseball. There's a big explanation for it or one of the explanations for it is that they're trying to stay away from politics. They're getting involved in these things because they want to just connect with their neighbors. They want to just fucking hang out. And they don't want to think about politics. They want to just be around. And there's really nothing to do because the churches have fucking rainbows in them. They go everywhere else, and everywhere else is like fraught with annoying people trying to debate them. So like these activities all have a thing in them that's just like apolitical. It's just like, hey, like, let's just focus on the Savannah Bananas. We don't need to like have rainbows written on the end zone.
Yeah. Well, I'll say that for it. And another thing that's nice is that it's not built around consumption.
Right.
It does have that going for it. Like people, of course, eat candy and they buy stuff, but it's
creative.
There's
right?
creativity involved. Yeah. It's not just pure empty consumption the way that.
Right. It's creative. It's neighborly. Like it's at least people are. At least it's not like somebody wrote in when I was tweeting about this. Like, You know who, like, they had to ban all the Halloween costumes at their school because, like, the Guatemalans were having heart attacks. The Guatemalan kids couldn't take it because they didn't understand. Where it's like, all right, at least people are fucking doing something. At least they're going out and, like,
Yeah.
getting all engaged in some activity, like, together, kind of, you know? So that's a little bit my take. My take is like, look, yeah, these things are terrifying. And it's way over the top, which is obviously the point, right? The point is that it's over the top. But I don't know. My thing is like, hey, just fucking let people have fun. And you know what? Like,
Let people enjoy things.
just let people enjoy things, man. And it's also just like, who says kids? Like, I guarantee you, I have 2 daughters. I guarantee you, if we walked by that thing that we just saw, that really fucking terrifying guy, I shouldn't say my daughter's name, but my daughter's name is Jew. That's my daughter's name. She wouldn't. She would. She'd just be like, "What is that?" You know, like I don't
Yeah.
think she'd like run screaming. You know, like she
Yeah.
would understand that it's just a silly thing.
You know, I had an experience where my family went to a like one of those steakhouses, like from the show King of the Hill, like cheap steak, like $25 steaks. And in the vestibule, there was this extremely ghoulish animatronic, evil demonic clown that was cackling and holding 2 little children by his hands, like, you know, as if he's going to eat them or something. And the children are shrieking, and he's, you know, talking about how he's going to cook them for dinner or whatever. And my kids didn't seem terribly fazed by that, but I think it was because it was like, you know, 4 o'clock in the afternoon or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. If they had seen it in someone's yard after dark, it might have been a different story.
Yeah. Of
Also, like,
course.
did you have like periods of your childhood where you had like bad nightmares after seeing horror movies and stuff?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
Because I remember being
did
a
have
kid
that.
and seeing the movie Creep Show. Have you ever seen that?
Maybe.
Stephen King. It's like an anthology of Stephen King short stories that they turned into a movie. And there's a scene where a guy takes like beheads someone and puts candles in it like a birthday cake. And it's that like really stuck with me like for months, where I couldn't go to sleep in my own bed. I don't know. I was probably 5 or 6.
So, you
And
know, oh, you were 5, really young. Okay, wow.
yeah, it was like one of those things where I like walked in on my parents watching it.
Yeah, okay, okay.
So like, yeah, I mean, June's, I'm guessing, probably too young to comprehend why that is scary. And maybe in a couple of years, she might find it more scary.
I just think, like, look, I agree. I also had those moments. For me, it was the movie The Fugitive. I saw the movie The Fugitive. My parents just brought me to R-rated movies when I was like a little kid, just because that's what they did. But I'm kind of like that too, honestly, with June, to be honest, which is very, I know, very non-conservative. I know, but it's like I guess my overall feeling when it comes to this type of stuff, when it comes to like art, I'm kind of a artistic purist. Like when something is art to me, it's like, look, I don't think she should be watching sex scenes, right? And I don't think she should be watching like horrible serial killer violence,
Terrifier,
right? Because definitely not the Terrifier films. But I'm just kind of like, I guess my feeling. Okay, so anyway, let me just tell the Fugitive story. I saw The Fugitive with my mom in the theaters, and was like scarred for like 2 years.
Do you remember what scared you about it?
Yeah, it was the creepy man with the one hand.
Okay.
Remember, there's a guy with the one hand.
Yeah.
You remember that? And it was like the violence was so real. It was like too real. Like, and I remember she falls down and like, you know, like in a movie, like hits her head and she's like dead. Mm-hmm. And that was the first time I'd ever seen that. And it was like that image of her falling and then being dead, like with the blood coming out of her head. I still feel it. I like feel it still to this day. Like I feel that like fear. Because I just, you'd never seen that. You'd never seen something like that as a child, right? And I was fucking traumatized. I was fucked up for a while after seeing that. And I had horrible like OCD afterwards. It was always like flashing in my head. So, I agree. I don't think kids should be exposed to that grade of stuff where it's really disturbing and serious and that type of thing. And it's true, like when you see a skeleton hanging from a tree and it's like super realistic, I could see why it's like kind of scary, but on the other hand, like that's the point of the holiday, right? The point of the holiday is to have a shared experience with that imagery. That's kind of the point of Halloween. Like the point of Halloween
but it was
is
never
not
like that
Disney.
20 years ago, and for the 100 years prior, like it was cute little pumpkins and maybe a cartoonish vampire.
I don't think that's true, though. I think probably the tolerance level has gone way up, but the whole point of the holiday is fear. Like, so I'm a huge horror movie fan. I love horror movies. I'm like obsessed with horror movies, and I loved them as a kid. I loved Halloween. I was a huge Michael Myers just fan. So I never was like disturbed by those films. But maybe since I'm such a horror fan, like I understand the purpose of fear. Or like fear, it's like a shared processing. Like you're processing that together, kind of, in my opinion. It's like Halloween wasn't always goofy. Like it was definitely scary. There's haunted houses, and I think that like there's on both sides. There's kind of a like Disneyfication of the shit that little kids see. I'm sure you've had this experience. Have you watched a like Disney film from the 1940s?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like there's
And it's like the imagery's like fucking horrifying. Like you're like, oh my God. Like that's like really disturbing. Like we just watched Pinocchio. There's a moment in Pinocchio where Pinocchio is found dead face down in the water. And he's like really dead. And I'm like, whoa, they would never show that. They would never show like Moana like floating dead. Like imagine, I would never do that. I mean, at least like in that graphic way, like she would be like, it was like very graphic. And I think that like we've just become pussies kind of about this stuff. And on the other side, people are like, I don't know. Like, I just think like don't kids see bad shit? Like, isn't that, I mean, normally kids would be exposed to like war and stuff at some level, like, right? I don't know. That's sort of my take.
I don't know. I feel like, show me, if you could find me a photo evidence of anything remotely like that guy that you had on the screen earlier, streaking the half body, or, like a guy with the bloody chainsaw and his brain is spilling out of his skull or something like that. Like, I think all that kind of, it's like the first zombie movie was what, like 1970 or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, not the first zombie movie, but the first, I don't know, like Sam Raimi, Night of the Living Dead. Like that was far more gruesome than what had come before. And that was movies too. Like, I don't think people were doing that in their own Halloween like decorations and how.
Okay, well, Cat Girl Kulak writes in with a rebuttal. So Cat Girl Kulak, who is a guy, I think, I don't look, who cares who Cat Girl Kulak is? I like the account. I think it's a great account. Nothing bad or good to say about Cat Girl Kulak. Anyway, Cat Girl Kulak says, ultra scary Halloween decorations are an expression of ancient Northern European ancestral memory. Whether it's the ancient Irish or the Norse Vikings, all their classic stories are ultra gruesome. And you know what? That's fucking true. Have you ever read another thing? I got at my hands recently on like, not Aesop's Fables, but like the Brothers Grimm. That shit is fucking horrifying. Like the original Hansel and Gretel, it's like disgusting. It's like really, really dark. So the Hrafsman. So who is it? It's the Brothers Grimm, and then what's the other one? Hans Christian Andersen,
Yeah.
the other like fairy tale guy.
Yeah.
But you go and read the actual source material of those things, it's like horror show. Like if people are like skinning each other and eating each other. Like it's really gross and bad. But anyway, so the Hrafsnansmal recounts a young woman's conversation with a raven covered in gore after picking through bodies. It tells her where to find her future husband, like a Disney story. You can see white boys and girls playing war or doctor, and all of them come up with the most gruesome things you can imagine. Then acted out like Hamector, like Ham actor.
Ham actor.
Oh, like Ham actor with William Shatner screens because they intuitively find it fun. Yeah, I agree. I agree with Catgirl Kulak. I think this is just like this is sort of the thing with kids. Aren't all nursery rhymes like also about horrible death and shit at some level?
Yeah, I think there's a difference though between storytelling and depicting it visually. I think that hearing something is not as visceral as seeing it, but yeah, you're definitely right. I mean, we have been reading some of those old fairy tales, so I 100% know what you're talking about.
Which ones are you reading? What should I say? How should I retweet this? We retweet Catgirl Kulak. Which ones are you reading?
Well, we read the original Pinocchio, not the Disney version, which is even more. He gets lynched in that version. Like
whoa! Wait, what happens to
him?
Yeah.
He's encounters assassins, and he is hung and left for dead, and he ends up getting rescued by a fairy. But yeah, there's multiple moments like that. He almost gets burned for firewood in one point. And it's funny because like it's very much around teaching a lesson. Like don't listen to flatterers. If something's too good to be true, it probably is. Like these lessons are very much, and same with Hansel and Gretel and those old tales. Like they were almost always about teaching your kids to like beware of the dangers of reality and strange people and unknown things.
Yeah, exactly. And so I understand why people. I get the like instinct to be appalled by this stuff, but I think it's sort of misguided, and I think it's like the right trying to get its culture war fix. It's like, oh, we want to be mad about something. Let's be mad about how the libtards are fucking up the world in a new way. Can we get something new that the libtards are fucking up? And it's like this is just the wrong thing. I think it's the wrong thing to be pissed about because it's like, hey, you know what? People at least are doing. I've already said this, but at least they're doing civic engagement, and I really do feel like kids' shit has been gruesome forever. Because you're right. It's like there's a shared like almost like intentional. That's what Halloween is. It's like it's an intentional exploration of the dark side. That's why it's like so funny to me when these people are being like, I'm sick of Halloween is demonic and I'm sick of pretending like it's not. It's like, yeah, it is demonic. That's the whole holiday. The holiday is demonic. Like it's not a fucking friendly holiday. There are friendly holidays, but Halloween just isn't a friendly holiday. The whole point is to explore the dark side.
I read an interesting tweet earlier today that argued that we need to bring back the mischievous nature of Halloween. Like the trick element is something that has been basically completely forgotten, and that wasn't always the case. The idea that if you didn't get a treat, you had free reign to do a trick on that person, and this person says that they would like. You might find your plow in a ditch the next morning. It wasn't stuff like, toilet papering your tree. It was like actually nasty stuff. And he describes how that was kind of like a way for the community to come together, and
Yeah,
like
I love
he
that.
contrasts it with now. Have you experienced this trunk or treat thing that they're trying to
Oh
popularize
no.
this year?
Oh God. What
Trunk or
is
treat
that?
is when everyone drives to a parking lot and everyone's got candy in their
Oh,
trunk, and the kids
boo.
don't have to like even walk anywhere. They just go from trunk to trunk in a parking lot.
Oh, fuck that. Oh my
Yeah.
God. See, that I'm very against. I
And
am
no one has to
totally
decorate their
against trunk
house.
or
It's
treat.
that's like the full like Disneyfication
That
of
is the
like
Disney. Well,
total
that's just the
consumption.
everything's safe. That's total
Yeah.
longhousification.
That's
Everybody's
that's
safe.
why they do that, is because that like it
Yeah.
eliminates any potential danger.
Yeah, but it's like, dude, that's the whole point, is that it's dangerous. Like, that's
Yeah.
the fucking point of it.
Yeah.
So, also, when I was a child, I lived in a diverse area, as you know. So the whole thing growing up for us, and this is kind of funny because it actually is, it's the perfect example of this in the hood. The big fear was having your candy stolen by older boys. Did you guys have that?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So the big fear was that like some older guy was going to come and steal your candy. And that happened. That I had my candy stolen by a large black boy when I was like 12. And it wasn't that I was trick or treating with black people also. It wasn't just white versus black. But he was just like an old like gangster fucking guy with braids, and he just went up and just grabbed it and just ran away, and then I had no fucking candy, and then we went back to the house and I like made everybody share the candy because I didn't have any.
Yeah,
That's
well,
the trickster.
when I was a kid, people were still able to let their kids run wild and not accompany them trick or treating.
Well, that was how it was for me. I didn't have parents.
I don't think that happens today.
At 12? At 12, yeah. There's 12-year-olds walking around there with no
Yeah,
parents,
but I
right?
mean, if we didn't live in hell world, you should be allowed to let your 8-year-olds do that.
Yeah, oh, of course.
know,
No, you should be
or up
allowed
and
to
down
let
the street,
5-year-olds out there. Yeah, totally.
like if if we were allowed to kill people who need to be killed
Yes, I
in
agree.
this society, like Halloween could look very different than it looks today. It doesn't have like I
100%.
sympathize with people who want to sanitize it a little bit because we can't have a normal society.
So would you be pro public hanging? Would you be pro public hanging, but not public hanging Halloween costumes?
Yes, what we should do is if someone wants to hang,
I'd be
like,
fine if it was real. If it was
yeah,
real, it would be totally
we
fine.
need to chop people in half and hang them by their hands, like.
Right, and that would be okay. If it's an actual subway murderer, then okay. So yeah, would you be in favor of? So again, this is yet another thing that people used to do as families, is like go watch people get hung, right?
Yeah.
So would you be in favor of bringing that back, public hanging?
100% yes. Like I think that we need to make people feel the sting of what it takes to have a healthy society.
Yeah, the only problem is we'd have to hang so many people. It's like there's so many bad people. You'd end up with mass hangings, which would be a little weird. It's better if you just have one person to hang.
That's the thing, is I don't like, once we did a few, I think the problem kind of solves itself. It's like people see that and they think, ugh, I better think twice next time I steal the Halloween candy.
It really is true. So much of the complaints that the right have are misunderstood by the right itself, not to mention the left, as like lack of empathy, of like, we don't care about that criminal. That criminal deserves what they, right? Or like, we don't care, like, you need to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. It's like, actually what we're reacting to is a welfare state that coddles people, right? That's really all we're pissed about. We're not really pissed about open borders. We're pissed about open
Right. I
borders
see what you're
plus
saying.
welfare. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
it's like they wouldn't
Yeah.
come if we didn't make
Right.
it so good for them here.
exactly. Like they would. We're not actually pissed about homeless people. We're pissed about the fact that
Right.
they are only there because of idiotic policies. You
Because
know,
you can't
yeah,
cut their hand off when they steal
exactly.
your shit.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I'm not pissed that there's like crazy people around. I'm pissed that I can't shoot them. I should be allowed to
Right,
fucking
right.
shoot them if they
Yeah.
attack me. You know,
Yeah.
right?
And we got to normalize this type of talk because, right now
Right.
it's very edgy to say these things. But yeah, whoever had that tweet years ago that was like, either you put people in prison or the rest, the
We're
rest of
all in
society
prison.
becomes
Right.
an open air prison.
Right.
I don't know who originated that concept,
It's
or
true.
that specific wording. But yeah, I mean, it's like, all the, like, you and I both like city life, and we like cities,
Yeah.
and we like the vibrancy of it, but they basically make it unlivable for exactly what we're talking about here. I mean, I don't think it would take very much. I mean, I think a few of these hangings would basically wrap up so much of it, and then you could let your 6-year-old go up and down the street, no problem, supervision.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, or at least just let people protect themselves. What kind of society doesn't allow average human beings to protect themselves from attack by other people?
Yeah, I mean,
It's fucking insane. I mean, I guess certain states do, right? Like in Florida, you can. Like in Florida, you can carry a gun around, and if somebody fucks with you, you can shoot them, right?
yeah,
I mean, that's
I
basically true.
had a conversation with someone about there was a tweet recently about someone that had 111 priors, who
Right.
did something horrible. I can't remember what the details were, but 111 arrests. And I think this guy was like a serial car jacker or car stealer, whatever you call that. And like literally arrested over 100 times for it. And I kind of send it to this friend of mine as like a gotcha, like, what is the lib answer to this, basically? And this person's response was, think about how, like, what a hard life that person must have. And I'm just like, you need to be completely disempowered. You need to be not able to vote. Like,
It's so
it was a
insane.
woman, and in my head I'm thinking, like, you can't vote. Like, we have to take away
It just doesn't make any sense because that same woman doesn't think for 2 seconds about how hard a life somebody else, like, why.
Well, my response was
so
like, think about how much
nonsensical.
human
I don't
suffering is
understand.
generated by these 100 arrests. Like,
Yeah,
think about, like, even just one person who gets their car stolen, what a headache that is. Like, spending weeks like hassling with the
It's
insurance
insane.
company, and they're thinking like, oh well, no, that's just property. It's like, how does that compare to a human life? Like, you get someone who's done this 100 times, it starts to add up. Like, that's not really math you can do, but yeah, I mean, like, I'm sure that if this guy had like a few times, that problem solves itself. We need to like
I
reclaim the
just don't
stomach
get
for
it.
this
Where,
kind of
what
posture.
is? But exactly. But where did it go? What this is like the
I think
biggest
part of it is
problem-
that we've had it too good. It's the weak men create hard
Yeah.
times thing. It's like
too much time on our hands.
So someone wrote something about this, how like in Anglo culture is why it is because we literally just killed the bottom 20th percentile of people. The worst offenders were, or maybe it was like 5% or 10%. I can't remember. But basically, like, if you stepped out of line, that was it. It was a wrap. And like that, for over centuries, you just end up with like a very high quality group of people, and those are the people that founded this country. But when you stop doing that, you end up with John Wayne Gacy and Ed Gein and all these people.
Is that really true though? Because I mean, they definitely kill the bottom in more primitive cultures, don't they? I mean, they kill. We're probably the ones who don't kill them more, right? I mean, is that
Yeah.
Don't they have that? Don't they have justice in other places too? That's much more savage.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know,
That's an interesting question for anthropologists.
It's so strange, though, man. It's just so weird. Where does this come from? Where does this fucking instinct come from? I mean, this is largely what Nietzsche is concerned with.
People feel guilty that they have it so good.
Yeah, this is basically Nietzsche's whole philosophy, is answering this question of where does this fucking thing come from? And he never really, at least as far as I know, he never really answers it, besides to say that it's the biggest problem in the world, which it absolutely is. But it's like, it's so fucking weird. Like, where do people get this shit from? I've never had this. I've never had this empathy thing. You know, I'm just missing it. I've never had this thing where I see a homeless man shitting on my face and I think, wow, what a hard life he's had. I've never had it. So I don't understand, like, what the fuck is wrong with people? Where do they get this?
Speaking as a devout Christian, I'm sympathetic to the argument that that's where it comes from, you know, and Nietzsche certainly talked about that.
Well, that's what Nietzsche does say that, but he's wrong because it's not Christianity. That's obviously not the cause of it, right?
And you know, Yarvin talks about this too, like how in dispute of the claim that it's the Jews, he basically traces the history of progressivism even further back before we had any of those in the New World. So, you know, it's complicated. It's multifactorial.
I mean, communism I can at least understand. This instinct seems so strange.
Yeah, it's not it's not like under Mao they would just let people brutalize.
No, I mean the communists at least, they were. Well, I mean the communists famously, though, you know what they did do is they let the violent criminals run the gulags, because the violent criminals were not class enemies. So the violent criminals, like the gangsters and like the burglars and shit, were the ones that they sort of like put in charge vaguely of like the kind of the capo type things of the gulags, because they were disenfranchised, right? Like they were like victims of capitalism. Whereas the class enemies were the ones that were really fucked. So there was like a little bit of that, right?
Yeah, I think there is certainly like a conscious choice that's made among our ruling class to allow it to continue. But I think for a lot of people, this might be like a breakfast question thing. Like, a lot of people are just too dumb to understand that if it's not happening to them, that doesn't mean it's not happening. You know, like someone, if you get attacked on the train, that brings it to life quickly.
But those people don't learn. It's not like you would hope.
You would hope, yeah. I mean,
you would
like
hope that when somebody,
that girl whose boyfriend got killed, and then now she's stumping for Mondani, who wants to basically allow that to happen even more.
Right. It didn't change her mind.
People are funny.
Yeah. You know?
People are funny. I think like that there's an idea. People like to see themselves as being magnanimous and to the underclass.
I mean, that's the cynical way to view it, right? The cynical, like, hater way, and I'm, you know, this is how I would explain it if I was doing it in a tweet, is that people, when they don't have religion, but even when they do have religion, right? Because half these people are fucking religious. So, right, religion really has nothing to do with it one way or another. But when they don't have, I guess, a belief in actual God or something, they believe in pity. They believe in their whole world. I guess the worldview of the sheep, of the lemming, is their happiness comes from feeling like they're a good member of the herd, I guess, right? And it's like feeling like you're a good member of the herd is like your whole self-worth. It's why you wake up in the morning. It's why you do anything. And so I don't know. It's
Yeah,
like they're
and
just so cucked. They're so
I
cucked that
can't
when they get
articulate
attacked, it's like,
this.
yeah, I don't know.
I think
Sorry. Go
that
ahead.
if I had to describe the lib mindset or the prog mindset in one sentence with one principle, and this I've found this to be true in my own personal life with the people that I know, it is that they don't like themselves and feel that they need to be punished. And because a lot of them don't believe in God, that there's like a cognitive dissonance there. They, you know, I think a lot of them don't like themselves because they don't feel like they deserve to live as well as they live. You know, they look at some guy in a
Yeah,
cardboard box on the street
that's
and they
part
think,
of it.
what have I done to,
Right.
what like cosmic chance has resulted in me having a house and this other guy does not have a house? And the correct response to that is to just kind of shrug your shoulders and say, well, either it's chance and there's nothing that I can do about it, or it's the cumulative decisions of my father and his father before him and all the way back to the beginning of time. I think those are both somewhat valid responses. But there seems to be an urge to want to have this like cosmic justice that they feel is lacking. When you're a religious person, you sort of are humble enough to recognize that some higher being is going to bring about that justice. But when you don't have that, it's kind of on you. And the easiest way to do it is to just self-abnegate and to say, I deserve to live in a city with violence, and I deserve to have half my paycheck taken away, and all the other things that suck about modern life that we have because.
Yeah, it's like a loneliness thing fundamentally, right? It's like if you wake, you can have a really high tolerance for loneliness if you feel like you are connected to the people around you. Like you can accept a lot of shit if you feel like you're contributing at some level to being part of the group that's around you. And I think that that's what it is. It's like it's hyper socialization. I like that word. It's hyper socialization. It's like people are so reliant on the emotional support of the people around them, I guess, that they just have all the evolutionary buttons just turned off, right? All the animalistic evolutionary buttons get turned off. And so they're just like a fucking wet fucking blanket. Not a wet blanket, but they're just like a
wet noodle.
They're a wet noodle. They're so open to the world. They're so open that they just have no
disgust response, no danger response.
They have no self-preservation response. They have that like turned off. And they view it as their job to have it turned off. I think that's
right.
That's how a lot of the people on the left view somebody like me or probably you is they just think, who hurt you? Like they think like, like why? Like they think, why do this? Like why not just go along? Like why not just go along with what everybody around you says? What's the big fucking problem? Like we're all in this together, right? Like why make a problem? Why don't you just shut the fuck up and do what everybody wants you to do? Like why are you creating issues? You know what I mean? Like I think that's what people see. But right, so it's like I think that's like right. It's just our society turns off all those buttons, and you know what, man? Like frankly, in today's world, that's what you want, right? I mean, you kind of want to be therapyized. No, don't you basically want that? Like, don't you want to kind of be completely no survival instinct at all? In today's world, doesn't that help?
I mean, you want to live in a world where you don't have to be looking over your shoulder all the time.
No, I sure, yeah, that too. But I mean, like literally, isn't that better? Like look at somebody who goes to Harvard or goes to all the fancy private schools, versus somebody who goes to, grows up in the hood. The private school person talks gay. They talk with vocal fry. They are totally AIDS, right? They're completely human AIDS. They have no immune system. But that's good, right? Like that's fucking helps them. Like if you're a man with no cultural immune system at all, and you just don't ever judge anybody, don't ever speak your mind, really, you're a therapy speak guy. That's good for your career now, right? Isn't that like good for you?
Yeah, I have this joke that like the best way to survive in the corporate world is to be smart but not too smart. Like the too smart guys are the people who can't deal with all the BS. Like they're just like, I can't. People are lying to my face. I'm gonna go start my own startup or whatever, like you did. Uh, but if you were like 20 IQ points dumber, you would probably make like a really good senior VP at
Right.
one of these agencies that you used to work for, because there's a certain amount of like, just you have to turn off that impulse that makes you want to scream,
Yes.
this is all bullshit. Whenever a project is going sideways or whatever, and it seems to me that like that actually hurts you to a point. Like you don't want to be a total idiot, but you got the people in that happy medium seem to do really well for themselves.
Well, they do well in the corporate ladder. I mean, I think things have changed a lot in actually a very short time. I mean, I don't know. Do you think that the Longhouse has changed a bit? I mean, are you seeing? I don't think the inside of it has changed. I just think like the cultural awareness of it seems to be very high.
Yeah, I think especially among younger people who are coming into their careers now, I'm sure they're looking at the next 40 years of their life and thinking like, is this what I'm signing up for? At least like, these sensitive young men who are on Twitter, are probably way more aware of it than I was when I was 20. I didn't have a word for it. Certainly that helps.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I had a guy on my pod a couple weeks ago. It's this episode called "How to Be a Copywriter," and he was just speaking his fucking mind.
I was
Like,
surprised to hear him use some of the words he was using.
And I was like, damn, all right. And that was very impressive because I was like, okay, well, it definitely like people are, because I think it's just, how can you accept this forever? It's such a miserable existence. And so many people have gotten kicked out, like me, that, I don't know.
Yeah, and I was just on a call with that was like on the Zoom was like 80% middle-aged women, and they're doing like a big rebrand thing, and I if I wasn't anonymous, I would have so many stories to share.
That's right.
You know what it's like, and everyone who works in the corporate world knows what it's like. And so I saw a tweet recently that Mackenzie Bezos has spent like magnitudes more than George Soros has over the last 30 years, like just this year. And the argument the person was making is like, this is a point in the column of we're not putting the woke away people who think that this is we're not out of the woods yet. So yeah, I don't know what to say about that, but
well, what's your stance on that? Are you we're putting the woke away person or not?
I'm kind of down the middle. I think that there's the broader culture, not the corporate world, but just, going to see the Savannah Bananas or whatever, or I think that it's less stifled now. I think that there was a time where like being anti-vax, for example, was like would get you booed out of a party. I think that's changing, but I definitely think the corporate world is as stifling.
Yeah, it's going to be weird to see what happens with the corporate world. I think there's so many alternatives now. I mean, you see the amount of alternatives just growing and growing and growing. And
What did you
see,
think of the Helen Andrews feminization thing?
I didn't read it. And actually, I have to go in 4 minutes because I forgot I have a call, speaking of. But what was the Helen Andrews thing?
Well, just that, I mean, she's making the argument that the main thing, the reason why we have woke is because we let women take over.
Oh, yes. No, dude, I read that and I was like, somebody's been listening to my podcast.
You've been saying this for a while.
Yeah, and look, again, everybody tunes me out when I say that because they think he just hates women and that's what he's saying, and we therefore shouldn't listen to him. But that's not at all what I'm saying. And that's also, she said it exactly how I have learned to say it, which is it's not women. It's not an individual woman. There's any problem with an individual woman. There's plenty of women who are very good at all of these things. It's just an environment that becomes 80% women, even 60% women. She says exactly this. She says when the demographic tips, when you get a certain number of female managers in a system or female workers and managers, it becomes a different thing. It just becomes a different fucking thing. And so that is never fails. There is not. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, we're going to be dealing with that for the next 40 years.
Right.
You know, that's a big ship to have to turn around.
And how do you turn it around?
I don't see any end on the horizon for that.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, all right, I gotta go because I gotta go to this meeting. But thank you so much, Dudley. Sure. Anything to shill?
No, just everyone subscribe to the Newright post on Substack and follow on Twitter.
All righty, thanks, brother. Great to talk to you as always.
Right, thank you.
Talk to you later. Peace.